Yeah. Is there a prototype country, state, place? Is Massachusetts great at sex education?
You might think so.
I do think so.
However, I hate to burst that bubble, but
Oh,
Massachusetts has no requirement that a school teach sex ed. And for many years, they've tried to pass the Healthy Youth Act. And the Healthy Youth Act would require that if a school system taught sex ed, no requirement that they teach it, but if they taught it, it be medically accurate and age appropriate. And they have not been able to pass this legislation for years because apparently we don't care if people teach sex ed, we don't care if it's medically accurate, and we don't care if it's age appropriate. You can talk about anything you want in a classroom. It doesn't have to be true, useful, or not harmful. You can talk about whatever you want. There is no expectation that you do sex ed, and there is no expectation that it be accurate. And that's in Massachusetts. So there are some states that have an expectation that there legislation that there will be sex ed, and there are some that have a legislation that it be medically accurate. Massachusetts is not one of those states.
Wow. Okay, so we're not required, and the schools that do it don't have to be honest. It doesn't have to even be factual.
No,
that's.
We can go right back to your dick. That's
actually. I'm really disappointed with Massachusetts. But all right, we'll move from there. Hopefully this gets some more information out there. Okay, so let's talk about sex.
Okay.
How much of sex would you say, when you talk into the classroom of students, how much of it is pleasure and how much of it is you have sex to have kids?
I think that most people most of the time have sex for pleasure. Most sex that people are having in this world is not procreative. Some is, but not all. But that is, interestingly, not really a direction that we would go in the class. There's a big push towards pleasure-focused sex ed. And I think pleasure-focused sex ed is about acknowledging that there are reasons besides procreation that people may have sex, and that there are sort of positive aspects about sexuality in people's lives. But high school students don't necessarily want to hear adults talking about sex, and they're a little bit uncomfortable with that. But the idea of adults talking about pleasure really makes high school students squirm. So I think you need to acknowledge pleasure, but it's not really something I'm probably going to be able to bring into a classroom per se without the students.
Oh my God.